Hi, everybody. This is Gat Sad for the Sad Truth. I wanted to wrap up my comments with regard to yesterday's tragedy. I will begin by reading a tweet that was posted by an ACLU lawyer who is a trans person. And so let me just read the tweet verbatim for you. The Christian right has introduced 200 anti-LGBT bills in the last 6 months, and people blaming Islam for this? No. Hashtag Pulse Nightclub. The person in question is Chase Strangio. So this person felt it completely appropriate and reasonable to put the blame of yesterday's slaughter uh, at the feet of the Christian right. Now, I should mention that it's not as though there is a monopoly when it comes to homophobia in religious texts, right? Uh, there are many religious traditions wherein one can find homophobic passages, and one can certainly tackle all instances of such hate and intolerance. But as far as yesterday's slaughter is concerned, uh, it really leaves one speechless to imagine that this person, a trans person, is arguing that the real culprit of yesterday's uh, just butchery is the Christian right. Second manifestation of grossly distorted thinking is in the instance where a lot of people are using this horror to uh, reignite the debate on gun laws. Now, again, the issue of gun laws is a very important one. It's one where debates should be had and where there are valuable positions to be heard on uh, any position that you might come from. And so I'm not contesting the fact that these are important discussions to have. But to link yesterday's horror as really a manifestation of uh, the pernicious evil that comes from guns is akin to arguing that when the Rwandan genocide of 1994 happened, I believe close to 1 million people were butchered. I mean, literally butchered, because I believe the one of the most common form or delivery systems, if you like, of killing was the use of machetes. So should we have sought to find better ways to regulate the purchase of machetes, or maybe the production of metal? Uh, One would laugh at such a position, right? What drives this hate is the darkness in people's hearts, and that darkness can come from many sources, and then we need to investigate what those sources are. Now, this doesn't mean that we shouldn't be uh, aware of the dangers of having lax gun control laws, but it's certainly not the appropriate context or not the appropriate focus that we should be uh, drilling down on when discussing yesterday's horror. To put it, to give another example, um, Genghis Khan, as I mentioned in my previous clip, uh, conquered huge lands and was brutal in his conquests. Uh, we don't necessarily go back now in history and say, gee, if we had better control of who can have horses, who could ride horses, if, riders had to register prior to riding horses. The archers, for example, we need to have better control as to who becomes an archer, who can handle that weapon, and of course the Mongol saber. We had to have better means of controlling that and controlling the metal that produces the Mongol saber. People would look at you as though you're insane, as though you're mentally deranged, and you would be. So again, there is a time and place to discuss gun laws. Uh, as far as yesterday's reality is concerned, that's not where the focus should be. The focus should be on what led this man to have the type of genocidal hatred in his heart that would cause him to then act out in the way that he did. And it's not because he had easy access to guns, because if guns were unavailable then there would have been another method of killing that he would have chosen. Have a good evening, everybody. Talk to you soon.